Alright guys, we're back on our last farm. We dropped our GPS signal again, so we're not very accurate on a lot of stuff on our monitor, but we're in the furthest field east back here. It's like a 13-acre field, and the best way I can describe it is it's the shape of a letter R with a really long leg on it. It goes clear back around to the neighbor's wheat and then up around those trees and kind of a triangle back here. But we don't have much seed and fertilizer on, and it is extremely soft from about the trees that way. So I wanted to be light. I already went up there and played around in the worst of it, I think. And I had to pick the planter up to keep the tractor moving, but past couple years, I'll show you when we get up there, I haven't been able to plant near as far as what I have. But this field, it's kind of a pain, because right here, it's less than 60 feet wide. I'm gonna have to swerve out into what I planted last time. DJ's got to fold the sprayer up to get from that part of the field, fold up to 60s, spray that little section, then get out here and unfold back to 90s. This field will usually have water running across it, and that's all swampy, and there's spring heads all over the place up there in the trees. DJ did some tile work back here last spring. I don't remember if I videoed any of it or not, but it helped. It made a considerable difference. But our planter's out there in the mud now. I'd be surprised if the drive don't start slipping. But it is a dry spring, so like I wouldn't be out in that grass if it was a normal spring, or like it has been the past couple years. We've just been planting what we can get. We got a nice big, it's not a sharp gully, but there's a valley down through here now, and you can see a planter flexing it. Right from the water that come out of those ditches and run across this field 2 years ago. It's going to take a long time to get these fields back to what they used to be before that big rain event. But this is all, the best way I can describe it, it's peat moss. It's like potting soil. I remember Grandpa talking about the back of this farm here. I don't know where specifically, I imagine it was up there. This dirt's got so much organic matter on it that the ground back here used to be on fire for years. I don't know dates on that, but I remember hearing about how this ground used to catch on fire back here. But, you know, kind of the white flowers, there's a spring head there, and we got water coming up. I don't know if the planter will touch it. It looks like it probably will. Are slipping a little bit. Yeah, picked up some mud on that real slimy peat moss, makes it slip. There, we got it back. But it used to be, for probably the last 4 years, 24 rows or 60 feet is all we've been able to farm. You can kind of see where we haven't been farming by the weed pressure. But I planted all the way up to the trees. There's a couple spring heads up there I went around, but it's been a long time since I've seen corn planted that far up there. Whether or not DJ can get it sprayed and get anything off of it, I don't know, but I think we're gonna have extra seed anyway, so might as well try. Right up there is where I had to pick the planter up, where I about got hung up. The biggest complaint I have about this peat ground is it doesn't seems like no matter what you do, the planter is always wanting to drag up. It'll be some of the best corn we've got. Unless it's a really wet year, this ground will make really nice. I wish I had those fancy row cleaners I could lift up from in here, because in some of this ground they just start plowing where the ground's softer. You can see we're picking up some mud on the tires. Let's pick the planter up. We're overlapping now. The extremely soft stuff is done. Now we'll do this next little leg up here. Talk to the landowner, and he's gonna, we don't have time this spring, but we want to get a tile guy back here and see if we can't get some of this dried up and maybe farm a little bit more. If I had my own track hoe, or I could do it for him, I'd see if he'd want to rip out a lot of the trees on the fence row, see if we could get clear up to the fence row with tile. Got some water. There's another little spring head bubbling out. You can drive right up to them, but don't drive through them with stuff, or you'll end up, a lot of them showing corn, you put a combine over it, it'll drop in till it doesn't, till the frame. I think that's telling me we're out of seed. The last one cleared itself, but this one's not. There we go. Yep, row 3 was empty. I moved a little bit in there until we can get up this end. We got something dragging up. Worked out really well. We got empty just as we got out of the real soft stuff. That's what I was hoping would happen, or at least wanted to get all of it. Row 4 is acting. I know it had seed in it. Now it's tripping because I've got a simulated speed in, and I'm not going what I'm telling it I am, and it's breeding low population. Okay, let's fill up the seed. Well, I changed my mind about the 6 bags and graphite. Of that 844, got going down on that skid, and the mice got into that skid for some reason. So I wanted to go ahead and use that, so that way if we've got seed to return, they won't take it back with mice damage. But the other skid doesn't have any, so they'll be more liable to take. We'll be able to return extra seed that way. Not gonna need fertilizer out there, and since I gotta mess around setting that pump up, I'm just gonna leave it fill up when I get out here, so that way I can just leave it set up out here. I don't have to tear it down to move it across this ditch. I think our culvert's caving in a little bit. We got that hole there, but we had a crossing put in here, but a lot of fish in there. But when we got all that rain 2 springs ago, it come out of this culvert and did a big swirl action and took it out. So I don't think I can get through it with the planter. We need to come back here with the backhoe and the free time we don't have and try to straighten that out. So right now we're crossing this culvert. We've got the wings locked on the planter. Let's see if never tried this. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but we're across. See, now this is all good bottom ground through here. This next little goofy shaped field we got, it's about 13 acres too. I'm thinking about bumping my population up to 36,000 just to see what would happen. Unless it gets real dry, I think I'm about guarantee this ground can handle it. I would have done that other field with the black ground, but there's just the other part of it's all gravel, and if it gets dry here, I'd burn up worse than usual. So we are probably clear out with fertilizer. I know it was getting down to about nothing there the last pass. So we're gonna load up with that, and then I may call my uncle and get his opinion on bumping up our population, and we'll see what they do. Wow, guys, it's been hot the past couple of days. ACs, and this isn't the strongest. I don't know why. It's frustrated me the past couple of years. We've done about everything we know to do to it. We just filled up the seed. We're still in this 36,000 population field. We've got like an acre left down here. It's all really good. I don't know. River bottom. We got a creek. Here's a herd of deer out there. Got a creek here, a creek back there. The big creek's running right there. So it's good black ground. That valley there, it washed out bad in 2019 we had a lot of water, so it's down to that gray clay that's under this black ground a lot. But I'm gonna finish this little acre up, and then I'm quitting tonight because I've only got a couple hours of planting left. And that field up there on the hill, it's got some weed pressure in it, and I imagine that ground's gonna be hard like it was last night, and I'm not gonna be able to see no workers. So I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna take the pickup down to my uncle's. I'm gonna unload his, I think he's got 6 bags of Pioneer seed on a skid yet. We use that on our one farm we got together up there. He's done, and all of our ground together's done, so he could have that skid of seed back, and he'll probably end up returning it. I don't have as much seed as I thought we did earlier. I seemed kind of surprised by the amount we have left, and I wasn't thinking it was before I filled up, and then I just filled up again. So if we don't have to fill up again, we'll only be sending 12 bags back. But just got a few little point rows down here in the corner, then we'll be finishing up for the night, and then we'll come back in the morning, and I'll change this planter back over to the 32,000 population before I forget about it in the morning. I guess it's less than an acre, but it was calling for seed. I think the fields in this bottom ground are pretty no-tone corn into. You got nice rows. It's usually the furrows look a lot fluffier, and I just think the fields look neat after doing this. Because I know there Sunday I lost GPS service, and DJ did too, and I don't think we never entered a simulated speed, so it just didn't count acres or anything. So I bet we're close to 600 on what we've done since Saturday. So we've probably got 25 acres left. I could finish it tonight, but there's really no need to. We'll come back in the morning. It's always the very end when everything wants to fight, like earlier today. Shut half the planter off. Got my switches confused. Is done. We'll run up there and we'll park it at the pickup, and then we'll hop out and we'll go switch our population back to where it needs to be. This is the last field here on this farm to do. So change the population over right here on the end. Still got my 2 sprockets that were on it saved up here at the top. Hardest part's adjusting the idler to where it needs to be, to where your chain's. Here we go, we just changed the sprockets out on that side. That's for this 6 rows of the planter. Go to the other side and do it now. We've got to move this up here onto the level. It's sitting downhill, and if the fertilizer tank's full, it's all running that way and coming out the overflow on the right tank. Whole bunch of deer down there about to pick up. About a dozen of them. The hayfield's coming back nice from when We baled there last week. What was that, a week ago? Not quite yet. Always like it in the evening this time of year. It's kind of a nice quiet farm back here. Everything's off the road. Bales we wrapped the other day. I don't know if I showed that or not. I don't think I did. That was an early morning project on Sunday morning, getting them wrapped. I don't even think about positive the camera is still on the planting tractor. Cattle are out there happy. DJ's really cleaned up a lot back here.